Let's talk about how pop culture or social media may influence like this whole field of mental health. So,
Good question,
definitely Facebook, Instagram, pretty much all the big tech companies are constantly fighting for our attention, showing things that either excites us or makes us angry, or maybe the illusion that things are perfect. Yeah. What are your thoughts on this?
That's a whole nother episode, and I have so many thoughts that they're all jumbled together. Oh gosh. I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and I think she watched a whole documentary on influencers, and how there's actually like at kind of like a higher rate of suicide amongst people who choose that profession. I think part of it has to do with kind of constantly having to portray a certain image of yourself, right? And it's like when you're constantly in a state of trying to portray, or an image of yourself, or doing like impression management all the time, like I wonder how that impacts our ability to authentically understand who we are, right? Because if our personality is being shaped by likes and by what people want to see, right? Like we may push other parts of ourselves away, right? Or not really tune into ourselves because we're like hyper focused on how other people are perceiving us.
It seems, correct me if I'm wrong or misinformed, but it seems like the opposite of what we talked about earlier in regards of finding the right group where you can let your armor down and you can be seen and celebrated in that.
Exactly.
Versus going down a path where you have your armor on all the time. All the time. You're trying to like, portray yourself in a certain way. Now, it's not to say that people can't and don't use social media in a conscious way and like, are authentic about how they show up in that space. But, I think that there is a large percentage of folks who allow the way people view them and again, likes to shape their identity, right? Yeah. I've seen older groups of parents successfully use Facebook for doing things like reconnecting with their high school or childhood friends that they will never ever discovered.
Yeah.
So I think there is some room there, and obviously, we have a good footing on Facebook itself. It's how we get connected, right? So not to say that it's all evil. It's definitely agnostic, but maybe the real danger is like in younger people with social media access.
Yeah. And I appreciate that you're adding that to the conversation because, I think everything has its like light side and its shadow side, right? And so I think it can definitely be this wonderful tool of connection, which is again back to that basic need that we have as humans, right? Which I think was, I think often, if you hear people who have started social media say the reason that we did this is because we want people to be more connected. And I think that is definitely one of the benefits of it. But I think one of the drawbacks of it is I think sometimes as humans, we don't like people to see the ugly side of ourselves, or the side of ourselves that, we feel like is less acceptable, or we have shame around. And so if we're constructing whole identities that leave out parts of ourselves, I think we can kind of get lost.
Yeah. I think one of the things that social media highlights is the need for quantity over quality. Because I think focusing on relationships, focusing on your own inner work, it's like, or the quality relationships, it's definitely not a numbers game. It's like an experience game, right? But social media has introduced like, okay, well, I got 50 likes on this photo, so therefore I should do more of it. Or this person got 100 or 3,000, so therefore they're better than me.
Exactly, right? Like you're gauging your worth based off of that. Not to mention, like every one of those likes is a hit of dopamine, right?
Yeah, and there's something to be said about gauging your worth on people's opinions that you have no idea who they are.
That part.
You have no idea who they are.
That part. Exactly. But especially for young people, like we're so insecure. Like I remember being a teenager, like, if 1,000 people said they liked me, I'd go on social media too, so I think it's really, I think a piece of it is I've heard that they're trying to come out with like some sort of legislation around like social media hygiene, right? Like, cause we're adapting to this thing that our biology is not necessarily ready for, right? So how do we do this in a responsible way?
You know what? So would it be fair to say that qualitative goes hand in hand with mindfulness?
Say that again?
Would it be fair to say that qualitative goes hand in hand with mindfulness?
Qualitative goes hand in hand with mindfulness. Can you explain that more to me?
Yeah. Like for example, instead of just saying, oh yeah, I have 1,000 friends,
Yeah.
you know, that's quantitative, right?
Uh-huh.
And say, oh yeah, I had this great conversation with this one friend.
Boom.
Very qualitative.
Boom.
And then there's mindfulness to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know why when you said that, I thought about like the gratitude list that I try to do daily. It's like, you know, there's a million things that I could focus on, right? I could focus on, you know, the likes that I didn't get on some posts, right? Or I could say, I'm really grateful for this amazing conversation that I had yesterday with Vin, because it really just opened me up to some new ideas, and I felt really connected to him, and I feel like our friendship is really strong. Like being in that space, right? And I'm just talking about one friend, right? One conversation that we had, and my nervous system is like, you know, like connection, right? Versus like 1,000 likes, which is nice, you know, but it's that quality is not necessarily there.
Yes. Great point, man. Like so maybe if we can, I think what I want to say is maybe social media distracts us to the wrong tribe. Meaning like now we think our tribe is all people who like our posts, right? Or all these people on the internet that maybe share whatever is happening. But our true tribe is these intimate relationships that we have. And that's where our energy should go.
Yeah, I think it's just important to remember, because again, like you said, we don't want to like demonize social media. And I know that some beautiful relationships have probably even have definitely started because of that. But to remind ourselves, like, nothing replaces actual human connection. Nothing replaces what we're doing right now. Like that's just, our biology knows the difference, you know?
Yeah. You know what? I think that's where the scary part is for younger people. Yeah. Younger, I mean like less than 20. Yeah. Young than 20, right? Because I think in some ways, let's say you watch TV or you're driving a car.
Yeah.
There's a clear delineation of when you're doing these activities.
Yeah.
Versus when you stop, right? So as soon as you walk away from your living room, you stop watching TV.
Yeah.
You get out of the car, you stop driving your car, right?
Yeah.
But smartphones are there with you all the time. Yeah. And I think in some ways, smartphones has like not replaced like as in like it should be replaced, but replaced by via so many people having it, right? Yeah. Replace human interaction.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think you'll hear lots of very smart people argue the exact same thing, you know, is that we're taking these like substitutes for human interaction rather than what we really need is, you know, direct contact with one another. So absolutely.